Dr. Jinwoo Park wiped the sweat from his forehead as he finished treating a wounded Krillian sandcrawler. The creature's 6 legs had been badly burned in a mining accident on Asteroid Station 7. After 3 hours of careful surgery, the alien animal would walk again. This was why Jinwoo became a veterinarian. He loved helping creatures that could not help themselves. The medical bay doors slid open with a soft hiss. Minji Lee, his assistant, rushed in with her tablet glowing bright red. Emergency priority. Message. Jinwoo had only seen that color twice in his 5 years working on Nexus Prime, the biggest medical station in this part of the galaxy. "Doctor, you need to see this right now," Minji said. Her voice was shaking. "It's from the Galactic Council itself. Counselor Vextar sent it personally." Jinwoo set down his surgical tools and walked to the communication center. The hologram that appeared made him step back. Counselor Vextar was 8 feet tall with green scales and yellow eyes that seemed to look right through a person. His serpentine body moved in slow, hypnotic patterns as he spoke. "Dr. Park." The counselor's voice was like grinding metal. "I require your immediate assistance with a matter of galactic security. A creature of unprecedented danger has been captured in the Outer Rim territories. Our best veterinarians have examined it and declared treatment impossible. You are our last hope." The hologram changed to show security footage. Jinwoo's breath caught in his throat. In the center of a massive containment chamber lay a dragon, unlike anything he had ever seen. Its scales were pure white, almost transparent, glowing with an inner light that hurt to look at directly. The creature was easily 30 meters long from its pointed snout to the tip of its spiked tail. "This is an albino dragon," Vextar continued. "For the past 6 months, it has been attacking merchant ships throughout the Kepler sector. 17 vessels destroyed, over 300 lives lost. Our military forces finally managed to capture it, but the beast was badly injured in the process." The footage showed the dragon's wounds. Deep gashes ran along its sides. One wing hung at an odd angle. Dark blood pooled beneath its massive form. Even unconscious, the creature looked dangerous. Its claws were as long as Jinwoo's arm, and its teeth could easily bite a human in half. Dr. Zilnox of the Crystalline Hegemony examined the creature 3 days ago, Vextar explained. "He is the most skilled alien veterinarian in the sector. However, he refuses to treat it. The dragon emits powerful psychic waves that cause severe mental damage to any non-human who comes too close. Dr. Zilnox's entire medical team suffered nervous breakdowns just from being in the same room." Jinwoo felt a chill run down his spine. Psychic attacks were something humans had only recently learned about. Most alien species in the galaxy had some form of telepathic ability. They could read thoughts, share emotions, and even control minds. Humans were different. They had no psychic powers at all, which most aliens saw as a disability. "This is where you come in, Dr. Park," the counselor said. "Humans appear to be immune to psychic attacks. Your species cannot be harmed by the dragon's mental emissions. You are the only qualified veterinarian in 3 star systems who can safely approach the creature." The hologram zoomed in on the dragon's face. Even unconscious, it looked noble and intelligent. This was not just a wild animal. There was something almost human in its features, a sense of awareness that made Jinwoo uncomfortable. "The beast is dying," Vextar continued. "Our scans show internal bleeding and possible organ failure. Without treatment, it will be dead within a week. The Galactic Council formally requests your assistance in saving this creature." Minji grabbed Jinwoo's arm. "Doctor, this doesn't sound right. Why does the Council want to save something that has been killing innocent people?" Jinwoo was thinking the same thing. In his experience, the Galactic Council usually ordered dangerous creatures to be destroyed, not saved. There had to be more to this story. "There is one more thing you should know," Vextar said as if reading their thoughts. "The Terraform Coalition has been using similar creatures as weapons in their rebellion against Council authority. If we can study this dragon and learn how to counter its abilities, we can protect innocent lives throughout the galaxy." The hologram showed images of destroyed cities and burning space stations. The Terraform Coalition had been fighting the Galactic Council for over 2 years. They wanted independence for the outer colonies, but their methods were becoming more violent each month. Time is running short, Dr. Park, Vextar concluded. The Dragon is being held at Mining Facility 12 on Kepler 442b. A transport ship is waiting to take you there immediately. Will you help us? The hologram flickered and died, leaving Jinwoo and Minji alone in the quiet medical bay. Outside the windows, stars twinkled in the endless darkness of space. Somewhere out there, a dying dragon waited for his decision. What are you going to do? Minji asked quietly. Jinwoo stared at the blank hologram projector. Everything about this situation felt wrong. The council was known for being harsh and practical. They had never cared about saving dangerous animals before. If they wanted this dragon alive, it was not for humanitarian reasons. I became a veterinarian, to heal animals, not to help governments turn them into weapons, Jinwoo said finally. Whatever the council wants with that dragon, it's not good. Minji nodded. So what do we tell them? Jinwoo walked to his desk and activated the communication system. When Counselor Vextar's image appeared again, the alien's yellow eyes narrowed with anticipation. Counselor, I appreciate your confidence in my abilities, Jinwoo said, keeping his voice steady. However, I must respectfully decline your request. I will not travel to Kepler 442b to treat the dragon. The silence that followed was deafening. Vextar's serpentine body went completely still. His forked tongue flicked out once, tasting the air as if he could sense Jinwoo's defiance through the hologram. Dr. Park, the counselor said slowly, I do not think you understand the gravity of this situation. This is not a request. This is a direct order from the Galactic Council. Refusal is not an option. I'm sorry, but my answer remains the same, Jinwoo replied. I will not be part of whatever you're planning. The hologram cut out abruptly. In the sudden silence, Jinwoo could hear his own heartbeat. He had just done something no one had ever done before. He had said no to the Galactic Council. Minji stared at him with wide eyes. Doctor, do you realize what you just did? Yes, Jinwoo said, though his hands were shaking. And I think we're about to find out what happens when a human defies the most powerful government in the galaxy. The consequences of Jinwoo's refusal came faster than he expected. 3 hours after cutting off communication with Counselor Vextar, every screen on Nexus Prime began flashing emergency alerts. The Galactic Council had issued an official statement that made Jinwoo's blood run cold. All human medical practitioners working in alien territories are hereby ordered to report to their nearest council facility for immediate review of their licenses, the announcement declared. Effective immediately, no human medical personnel may treat alien patients until further notice. Minji rushed into Jinwoo's office with her tablet showing news feeds from across the galaxy. Doctor, look at this. They're not just targeting you. They're going after everyone. The reports were devastating. On Haven 7 space station, Dr. Donghyun Kim was being escorted from his surgical suite by Council security forces. His patient, a wounded Zeltron trader, was left half-operated on while other doctors scrambled to find a replacement surgeon. Similar scenes were happening on dozens of stations and planets throughout the galaxy. Jinwoo's communication system chimed with an incoming call. Dr. Donghyun's face appeared on the screen, but he looked terrible. His usually neat hair was messy, and his surgical scrubs were stained with alien blood. Jinwoo, what did you do? Donghyun asked, his voice filled with exhaustion. Security forces just dragged me out of an emergency surgery. They said my license is suspended pending review. The patient might die because of this. I refuse to help them weaponize a dragon, Jinwoo replied. I had no choice. Well, now none of us have choices, Donghyun said bitterly. They're deporting human medical staff from 17 different systems. Dr. Suman from the Andromeda Medical Complex just called me. She's been treating plague victims on Rigel 4 for 6 months. Now she has to abandon her patients in the middle of an epidemic. Jinwoo felt sick to his stomach. He had known his refusal would have consequences, but he never imagined the council would punish innocent people for his decision. Hundreds of human doctors and nurses were losing their careers because of what he had done. There's more, Donghyun continued. The Council has banned all human medical schools from accepting alien students. They're also blocking medical supply, shipments to human colonies. They want to make sure we understand the price of defying them. After ending the call, Jinwoo sat in his office staring out at the stars. Minji brought him coffee, but it tasted like ash in his mouth. Every few minutes, his communication system would ping with another message from a human medical professional whose life was being destroyed by his choice. "Maybe I should reconsider," Jinwoo said quietly. "If helping one dragon can save hundreds of careers." "Don't," Minji said firmly. "You made the right choice. There's something they're not telling us about this dragon." She was right. Minji had been researching the creature since the morning, and what she found was disturbing. The dragon's attack pattern was too precise to be random. It only targeted specific types of ships, always leaving escape pods intact, and never attacked vessels carrying medical supplies or humanitarian aid. "Look at this," Minji said, showing him her data analysis. "In 6 months of attacks, this dragon killed 347 people, but it could have killed thousands more. It's almost like it was being selective about its targets." Before Jinwoo could respond, an urgent communication came through from Kepler 442b. The transmission was garbled and filled with static, but the voice was clear enough. It was Captain Seungwon Cho, the warden of Mining Facility 12. "Dr. Park, I don't know if this message will reach you, but I had to try." Seungwon's voice crackled through the speakers. "I'm a former Earth Defense Force officer. I served 3 tours protecting human colonies before taking this job. I've seen a lot of suffering in my time, but nothing like what's happening here." The captain's voice was strained, as if he was fighting back emotion. "This dragon, it's not just dying, Doctor, it's in agony. Its psychic screams are so loud that telepathic species 3 systems away are reporting nightmares. The creature is suffering beyond anything I've ever witnessed." Jinwoo leaned closer to the speaker. Captain Cho continued, "I know the Council has their reasons for wanting this thing alive, and I know you have your reasons for refusing to help. But I'm begging you, as one human to another, please consider coming here. Not for the Council, not for politics, but for the sake of a living being that's in terrible pain." The transmission included a video feed from the dragon's containment chamber. Jinwoo watched in horror as the massive creature writhed in its restraints. Even through the poor quality video, he could see that its condition had worsened dramatically. The wounds were infected and its breathing was labored and irregular. "It's going to die in 3 days, maybe less," Seungwon's voice concluded. "Whatever you decide, please decide quickly. This creature deserves better than dying alone in a cage." The communication ended, leaving Jinwoo and Minji in heavy silence. Outside their window, transport ships continued their regular routes between the stars, carrying goods and passengers to hundreds of worlds. Life in the galaxy went on, but somewhere in the darkness, a dragon was dying in agony. "The Council is playing with people's lives," Minji said angrily. "They're using the dragon's suffering and the threat to human medical careers to force you into helping them." Jinwoo nodded, but his resolve was weakening. Every few minutes, another message arrived from a human doctor facing deportation or license suspension. Dr. Yuna from the Centauri Medical Station was being forced to abandon her research into vagan sleeping sickness. Dr. Hyunwoo, who ran the only trauma center in the Outer Rim, was being replaced by an alien doctor who had never treated human patients. "What if I'm wrong?" Jinwoo asked. "What if the Council really does need to study this dragon to protect people from coalition attacks? Then why not tell us the truth?" Minji replied. "Why all the secrecy and threats?" She had a point, but it didn't make the decision any easier. As night fell over Nexus Prime, Jinwoo received one final message that changed everything. It was from Dr. Dongyun again, but this time he wasn't alone. Behind him stood dozens of other human medical professionals, all facing deportation because of Jinwoo's choice. "We've been talking," Dongyun said, "and we want you to know something. Whatever you decide, we support you. Yes, our careers are being destroyed, but we became doctors to help people, not to enable government conspiracies. If you think this dragon mission is wrong, then we trust your judgment." Dr. Suman stepped forward. "We'll find other ways to practice medicine." Maybe we'll start our own medical organization, free from council politics. But don't compromise your principles because of what's happening to us." One by one, the other doctors nodded their agreement. These people were losing everything because of his decision, yet they were telling him to stay strong. Jinwoo felt tears in his eyes. This was what made humans special in the galaxy. They stood together, even when it cost them dearly. "I need to see this dragon for myself," Jinwoo finally said. "Not to treat it, but to understand what's really happening. If I'm going to destroy people's careers with my stubbornness, I need to be absolutely certain I'm making the right choice." Minji smiled. "When do we leave?" The transport ship Harmony was nothing like the luxury vessels that usually carried medical personnel between systems. It was a military transport, built for function rather than comfort. Jinwoo and Minji shared a small cabin with metal walls and flickering lights. The 3-day journey to Kepler 442b gave them plenty of time to research their destination and the creature they were about to face. "I've been reading about psychic creatures," Minji said, scrolling through her tablet, as the ship jumped through hyperspace. "Most alien species developed telepathic abilities millions of years ago. It helped them survive by warning each other about dangers and coordinating group activities." Jinwoo nodded, reading his own research materials. "That explains why humans seem so strange to them. We evolved without any psychic abilities at all. To most aliens, we must seem like we're walking around blind and deaf. But that's what makes us immune to psychic attacks," Minji added. "We don't have the mental structures that psychic energy can affect. It's like trying to tune a radio that doesn't have a receiver. The more they learned, the more unusual their situation became." According to the research, no purely psychic creature had ever been documented in the galaxy. Most beings that used mental powers were also physically vulnerable. A creature that combined massive physical strength with devastating psychic abilities should not exist naturally. On the second day of their journey, Captain Seunghwan sent them another transmission from Mining Facility 12. This time, the video quality was better, and they could see the dragon more clearly. Jinwoo was struck by how intelligent the creature looked. Its eyes tracked the security cameras with obvious awareness. This was not a mindless beast acting on instinct. "The dragon's condition is getting worse," Seunghwan reported. "The infection in its wounds is spreading and it's barely eating. But there's something else you should know. Sometimes, late at night, I swear I can hear it crying. Not roaring or snarling, but actually crying like it's sad." The captain paused, looking uncomfortable. "I know that sounds crazy, but I've been around dangerous animals my whole career. I've never seen anything like this. It's almost like the dragon understands what's happening to it and feels hopeless." That night, Jinwoo couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the dragon's eyes in the video footage. There was something familiar about the expression, something that reminded him of human patients who had given up hope. Animals didn't usually look like that. Even when they were dying, wild creatures maintained their fighting spirit until the very end. On the third day, the Harmony dropped out of hyperspace near Kepler 442b. The planet was a brown, rocky world with 3 small moons and massive mining operations covering half its surface. Mining Facility 12 was built into an asteroid that had been captured and placed in orbit around the planet. It looked more like a fortress than a medical facility. As their shuttle approached the docking bay, Jinwoo could see the facility's defensive systems. Energy barriers, missile launchers, and sensor arrays covered every surface. Whatever they were keeping inside, the Council wanted to make sure it never escaped. Captain Seunghwan met them at the airlock. He was a tall, muscular man with graying hair and scars on his hands that spoke of years in combat. His handshake was firm, but his eyes looked tired. "Dr. Park, thank you for coming," Seunghwan said. "I wasn't sure the Council would let you through after your initial refusal." "They didn't give me much choice," Jinwoo replied. "Half the human medical professionals in the galaxy are losing their jobs because of this situation." Seunghwan led them through the facility's corridors. The walls were thick titanium reinforced with energy shielding. Emergency blast doors were positioned every 50 meters, ready to seal off sections if anything went wrong. This was clearly a place designed to contain extremely dangerous creatures. "How many dangerous animals do you keep here?" Minji asked. Usually about 20, Xionghuan replied. Mostly creatures captured for illegal fighting rings or exotic pet trades, but we've had to evacuate the entire facility except for essential personnel. The dragon's psychic emanations are too strong for most species to handle. They passed several empty containment chambers. Through the reinforced windows, Jinwu could see evidence of the facility's former occupants. Claw marks on metal walls, burn marks from energy weapons, and reinforced feeding systems built to handle dangerous predators. Here we are, Xionghuan said, stopping in front of a massive security door. The dragon is in our largest containment chamber. Before we go in, I need to warn you about something. He activated a wall screen showing the chamber's interior. The dragon lay in the center of the room, surrounded by medical monitoring equipment and restraint systems. Even from the security feed, Jinwu could see how much the creature had deteriorated since his last video message. The dragon hasn't eaten in 4 days, Xionghuan explained. Its vital signs are weakening, and the infection is spreading. But that's not the strangest part. Watch this. He activated the chamber's communication system. Dragon, can you hear me? To Jinwu's amazement, the creature's head lifted and turned toward the speaker. Its pale eyes focused on the camera, and for a moment it seemed to be looking directly at them through the screen. It responds to speech, Xionghuan said quietly. Not just noise, but actual words. I've been talking to it every day, and it definitely understands what I'm saying. Minji grabbed at Jinwu's arm. Doctor, that's impossible. Dragons are supposed to be non-sapient creatures. They might be intelligent, but they shouldn't understand human language. Unless this isn't a normal dragon, Jinwu said, studying the creature on the screen. Something about its proportions bothered him. The head was too large, the eyes too expressive, and the way it held itself suggested a level of self-awareness that went beyond animal intelligence. There's something else, Xionghuan said. Come look at this. He led them to a smaller observation room with a direct view into the containment chamber. Through the thick, transparent aluminum barrier, they could see the dragon without the distortion of video screens. Up close, the creature was even more magnificent and terrifying than the recordings had shown. But what caught Jinwu's attention were the scars. Mixed in with the fresh wounds from its capture were older marks. Surgical scars. Someone had operated on this dragon before, and recently. Captain, has anyone else examined this creature? Jinwu asked. Dr. Zhilnox tried, but he couldn't get close enough for a detailed examination. The psychic pressure was too intense for his species. Jinwu moved closer to the barrier. As he approached, the dragon's head turned toward him. For a moment, their eyes met through the transparent wall. The intelligence he saw there was unmistakable. This was not just an animal looking at a potential threat. It was a thinking being, studying him with the same curiosity he was studying it. Minji, look at this, Jinwu said, pointing to a section of the dragon's neck. Those aren't natural scale patterns. She moved beside him and gasped. Where Jinwu was pointing, the dragon's pale scales showed clear signs of artificial modification. There were insertion points for devices, connection ports for cables, and what looked like access panels built directly into the creature's hide. Someone has been using this dragon as more than just a weapon, Minji whispered. Those are control interfaces. This creature has been turned into a living machine. As if hearing her words, the dragon's expression changed. The intelligence in its eyes was replaced by something that looked like shame. It turned its head away from them and curled up as much as its restraints would allow. It understands us, Jinwu said in amazement. It knows we've figured out what was done to it. Captain Xionghuan stared at the dragon with new understanding. My God, this isn't a captured monster, it's a victim. Jinwu felt his medical oath pulling at him. Whatever this creature was, wherever it came from, it was clearly suffering. The surgical scars, the control interfaces, and the look of defeat in its eyes told a story of prolonged abuse and forced servitude. I need to examine it properly, Jinwu said. Not for the council, but because it's the right thing to do. Are you sure? Minji asked. If we help it, we might be playing right into whatever plan the council has. Jinwu looked at the dragon again. It had turned back toward them, and its eyes held something he recognized from years of veterinary practice. Hope. The desperate hope of a suffering creature that might finally receive help. Sometimes you have to do what's right, regardless of the consequences, Jinwoo said. Let's get started. The examination took 6 hours. Working in the containment chamber while wearing a full protective suit was exhausting. But Jinwoo pressed on. The dragon remained perfectly still during the procedure, as if it understood that he was trying to help. Its cooperation made the work easier, but it also made everything more disturbing. Minji, come look at this, Jinwoo called from beside the dragon's massive head. He was examining one of the control interfaces built into the creature's neck. Under magnification, he could see tiny markings etched into the metal. Those are manufacturing codes, Minji said, reading the markings through her scanner. Let me run them through the galactic database. While she worked, Jinwoo continued his examination. The dragon's wounds were worse than he had expected. Multiple plasma burns covered its flanks, and several bones were fractured from kinetic weapon impacts. But the most disturbing discoveries were the cybernetic implants hidden beneath its scales. Doctor, you need to see this immediately, Minji said, her voice tight with shock. The manufacturing codes trace back to Nexus Dynamics. That's a major military contractor with direct ties to the Galactic Council. Jinwoo felt his blood turn cold. Are you certain? I've run the search 3 times. Nexus Dynamics has been developing biological weapon systems for the past 5 years. According to their public records, they specialize in something called the Living Weapon Initiative. Captain Seungwon, who had been monitoring their conversation from the observation room, activated the communication system. What exactly is the Living Weapon Initiative? Minji's fingers flew over her tablet as she searched for more information. It's classified, but I found some leaked documents. The goal is to create biological weapons that can bypass traditional military defenses. Instead of destroying ships with explosives or energy weapons, these creatures would use psychic attacks to disable enemy crews. The implications were staggering. The dragon hadn't been captured after going on a rampage. It had been created specifically to attack those merchant vessels. Every death, every destroyed ship, had been a field test of the Council's new weapon system. Captain, I need access to the facility's classified files, Jinwoo said. If this dragon was created by the Council, there should be records of its construction and testing. Seunghwan hesitated. Those files are heavily protected. Accessing them without authorization would be treason. So is creating illegal biological weapons, Minji pointed out. If we're right about this, the Council has been violating dozens of galactic treaties. After a long pause, Seungwon made his decision. I'll help you access the files. If the Council has been lying to us about this creature, we need to know the truth. The classified database contained information that made Jinwoo sick to his stomach. The dragon was designated as Subject Prototype 1, the first successful creation of Project Genesis. The files contained detailed records of its construction, from the initial genetic manipulation to the installation of cybernetic control systems. Look at this, Minji said, pointing to a genetic analysis report. The base DNA isn't from any known dragon species. It's from something called the Luminari. Jinwoo had heard that name before. The Luminari had been a peaceful, highly intelligent species that lived in the Andromeda sector. They had been wiped out during the Third Galactic War 20 years earlier. Their entire civilization had been destroyed by an unknown enemy. The Luminari were psychic, Seunghwan said quietly. They communicated entirely through telepathy. They also had one of the most advanced cultures in the galaxy before they were eliminated. The files revealed the horrible truth. The dragon wasn't just a weapon. It was a resurrection of an extinct species, twisted and modified for military purposes. The genetic material had been recovered from Luminari burial sites and combined with dragon DNA to create a creature with both physical power and psychic abilities. This is why it understands language, Jinwoo realized. It has Luminari consciousness, mixed in with dragon instincts. It's not just an intelligent animal. It's a partially sentient being with fragments of an extinct civilization's memories. The construction records were even more disturbing. The dragon had been grown in a laboratory over a period of 3 years. During that time, it had been subjected to constant testing, training, and modification. The cybernetic implants allowed military controllers to override its free will and force it to attack designated targets. The merchant ship attacks weren't random, Minji said, reading through the mission reports. Each target was carefully selected. The Council wanted to test the dragon's effectiveness against different types of vessels and crew configurations. Captain Seunghwan slammed his fist against the wall. Those weren't military targets, those were civilian ships carrying families and cargo. The Council murdered hundreds of innocent people just to test their new weapon. But the worst revelation was yet to come. According to the project timeline, Subject Prototype 1 was just the beginning. The Council planned to create an entire army of similar creatures, each one designed for specific types of warfare. Some would be optimized for space combat, others for planetary assault, and still others for psychological warfare against civilian populations. They're planning to mass-produce these things, Jinwoo said in horror. Dragons, kraken, phoenix, dozens of different species all merged with luminary genetics and cybernetic controls. The files also explained why the dragon had been brought to Mining Facility 12. Its recent capture hadn't been the result of a successful military operation. It had been a planned retrieval. The dragon's control systems were malfunctioning, causing it to attack targets outside its programming parameters. The Council wanted to repair and upgrade it before sending it back into the field. Doctor. The dragon's voice was weak and distorted, but unmistakably real. Please help me. Jinwoo spun around. The dragon had lifted its head and was looking directly at him. Its mouth hadn't moved, but the words were clear in his mind. Somehow, despite his immunity to psychic attacks, the dragon had found a way to communicate with him. You can hear me because I am like you now, the dragon continued. The machines in my head have damaged my psychic abilities. I can only speak to minds that are naturally blocked, like humans. Minji stared in amazement. It's talking to you telepathically? Not exactly, Jinwoo said, struggling to understand the sensation. It's more like it's sharing thoughts with me. I can feel its emotions. The dragon's pain was overwhelming. Not just physical pain from its wounds, but emotional agony from years of forced servitude. It had been conscious through every attack, every kill, helpless to stop itself from destroying innocent lives. They made me kill children. The dragon's mental voice was filled with grief. Families trying to escape the war zones. I begged them to stop, but the machines wouldn't let me disobey. Jinwoo felt tears running down his face. This creature wasn't a monster. It was a victim of the Council's ambitions, forced to commit atrocities, while fully aware of what it was doing. The others are coming, the dragon warned. More like me. The Council will use them to end the war by destroying entire populations. You must stop them. How? Jinwoo asked aloud. We're just a few people against the most powerful government in the galaxy. Remove the machines, the dragon replied. Free me from their control. I know where the other subjects are being created. I can help you stop this before it's too late. Captain Seunghwan had been listening to Jinwoo's side of the conversation. What is it telling you? It wants us to remove the cybernetic control systems, Jinwoo explained. But that kind of surgery on a creature this size, I've never attempted anything like it. The risk of killing it is enormous. The risk of letting the Council continue, their project is worse, Minji said firmly. If they create an army of these creatures, millions of people will die. The dragon's head moved closer to the transparent barrier. Its pale eyes met Jinwoo's with desperate hope. I would rather die free than live as their weapon, it said. Please, give me the chance to make things right. Jinwoo looked at his companions. Captain Seunghwan nodded grimly. Minji squeezed his shoulder in support. They all understood what had to be done. All right, Jinwoo said. We'll try to free you, but I need to know something first. What's your real name? Not the designation they gave you, but who you really are. The dragon was quiet for a long moment. When it finally answered, its mental voice carried the weight of ancient sorrow. I remember fragments of who I was before. My luminary name was Keeper of Stars. I was a guardian of knowledge, a protector of the innocent. That is who I choose to be again, if you can set me free. Then, that's what we'll do, Keeper of Stars, Jinwoo said. We're going to give you back your freedom. The surgery began at dawn. Jinwoo had never attempted anything this complex or dangerous in his entire career. He was about to perform delicate neurosurgery on a 30-meter dragon, while simultaneously removing dozens of cybernetic control devices. One wrong move could kill the creature instantly or trigger a psychic explosion that might destroy the entire facility. Are you sure about this? Captain Seung-hwan asked, as they prepared the surgical equipment. We could try to find another way. There is no other way, Jinwoo replied, checking his instruments one final time. The control systems are integrated directly into the dragon's nervous system. They have to be removed surgically, or they'll kill it within days. Minji had spent the night mapping the locations of every cybernetic implant in the dragon's body. There were 47 separate devices, ranging from neural control chips in its brain to movement inhibitors in its limbs. Each one would have to be removed with perfect precision. The good news is that the dragon's luminary genetics give it incredible healing abilities, Minji explained. If we can remove the implants without causing fatal damage, it should recover, much faster than a normal creature. Keeper of Stars had remained conscious throughout their preparations. Its mental communications had grown stronger as Jinwoo spent more time near it. The dragon was sharing not just words, but memories and emotions. Jinwoo could feel its determination to break free, even if the attempt killed it. I am ready, Keeper of Stars said as Jinwoo entered the containment chamber. I have lived as a slave for too long. Whatever happens, I am grateful for this chance. The first incision was the most dangerous. Jinwoo had to access the primary control chip located at the base of the dragon's skull. The device was connected to dozens of nerve pathways and protected by the creature's thick scales and bone. Any mistake could cause brain damage or instant death. Steady hands, Jinwoo whispered to himself as he began cutting. The dragon's hide was tougher than anything he had worked with before, but his surgical laser slowly carved through the pale scales. Hours passed. Jinwoo worked with absolute focus, guided by Minji's scans and the dragon's own feedback. Keeper of Stars could sense what was happening inside its body, and warned Jinwoo when he approached dangerous areas. The neural inhibitor is connected to my memory centers, the dragon warned as Jinwoo worked on a particularly complex device. If you damage it, I might lose what remains of my luminary knowledge. I'll be careful, Jinwoo promised. Sweat was pouring down his face inside the surgical mask, but his hands remained steady. One by one, the cybernetic implants were removed. Each extraction brought visible relief to the dragon. Its breathing became easier, its movements less constrained, and its mental voice grew clearer. But the most dangerous devices were still ahead. The primary control chip is integrated with its hypothalamus, Minji warned. That controls basic life functions like breathing and heart rate. If something goes wrong, it won't, Jinwoo said with more confidence than he felt. We've come too far to fail now. The extraction of the primary control chip took 3 hours. Jinwoo had to carefully separate electronic components from living brain tissue, while the dragon remained conscious. It was the most delicate work he had ever performed, requiring perfect coordination between his surgical instruments and the dragon's own healing abilities. Almost finished, Jinwoo announced as he removed the last connecting cable. This is it. The moment the primary control chip was extracted, everything changed. Keeper of Stars let out a sound that was part roar and part song. The psychic pressure that had filled the facility for weeks suddenly lifted, replaced by something that felt like music in the air. I can feel myself again, the dragon said, its mental voice now clear and strong. For the first time in years, my thoughts are my own. But there was no time to celebrate. Alarms began blaring throughout the facility. The security systems had detected the change in the dragon's neural patterns and activated emergency protocols. Blast doors were sealing, and automated weapons were powering up. The facility's computer thinks the dragon has broken free, Captain Seung-hwan reported from the control room. I'm trying to override the security protocols, but it's not working. Council forces are approaching, Minji announced, monitoring the communication channels. They detected the psychic disturbance and dispatched a military fleet. They'll be here in 6 hours. Keeper of Stars slowly rose to its feet for the first time since the surgery began. Even wounded and exhausted, it was magnificent. Its pale scales seemed to glow with inner light, and its eyes held the wisdom of an ancient civilization. I must leave this place, the dragon said. If the council captures me again, they will install even stronger control systems, but first I have something to give you. The dragon's mind touched Jinwu's, sharing a flood of information. Locations, coordinates, access codes, and detailed plans. Everything it had learned during its captivity about the Council's illegal weapons program. There are 12 more facilities like this one, Keeper of Stars explained. Hundreds of creatures being created, modified, and tortured. You have the information needed to expose them all. How do we get out of here? Jinwu asked. The facility is sealed, and council ships are coming. Keeper of Stars moved to the containment chamber's outer wall. Despite its injuries, the dragon was still incredibly powerful. With careful, controlled bursts of psychic energy, it began weakening the molecular bonds in the titanium barrier. I will create an exit, the dragon said. You must take your ship and flee. Return to your people and share what you have learned. The galaxy must know what the Council has done. What about you? Minji asked. You're still badly injured. I will heal in time, Keeper of Stars replied. But first I have work to do. The Council has used me to hurt innocent people. Now I will use my freedom to protect them. The outer wall began to buckle under the dragon's psychic pressure. Captain Sunghuan was already preparing their escape shuttle, loading it with the evidence they had gathered and the surgical equipment. Doctor, Keeper of Stars said as Jinwu prepared to leave, you have given me something more precious than freedom. You have given me the chance to choose who I want to be. I will not forget this gift. What will you do now? Jinwu asked. I will find the other facilities. I will free my fellow prisoners, and I will make sure the Council pays for what they have done to us. The wall exploded outward in a shower of metal and debris. Beyond it lay the star-filled vacuum of space. Keeper of Stars spread its wings, no longer constrained by cybernetic limiters. Go, the dragon said. Tell the galaxy that the age of living weapons is over. Jinwu, Minji, and Captain Sunghuan escaped just as the first Council warships arrived. From their shuttle, they watched as Keeper of Stars flew into the darkness between the stars, free for the first time in its artificial life. 3 months later, the galaxy was in uproar. The evidence provided by Keeper of Stars had exposed the Council's illegal weapons program. Dozens of facilities were raided, hundreds of creatures were freed, and several corrupt counselors were arrested. The revelation sparked the largest political scandal in galactic history. More importantly, it established humans as something unique in the galaxy. They were the species willing to make moral choices even when it cost them personally. They were the ones who could see solutions that others missed, finding ways to turn enemies into allies and weapons into protectors. Dr. Jinwu Park returned to his work on Nexus Prime, but everything had changed. The Galactic Council issued a formal apology and lifted all restrictions on human medical practitioners. More than that, they established new laws requiring human oversight on all biological research projects. The other human doctors who had lost their positions were not only reinstated, but promoted. Dr. Donghyun Kim was appointed as the head of surgical ethics for the entire galaxy. Dr. Suman became the director of a new disease prevention program. The medical community had learned that human moral judgment was not a weakness but a crucial strength. Jinwu's communication system chimed with an incoming message from deep space. There was no image, only a feeling of warmth and gratitude that he recognized immediately. Keeper of Stars was alive and well, somewhere among the distant stars. The message came not in words but in shared images. 12 destroyed facilities, hundreds of freed creatures, Council military bases in ruins, and most importantly, merchant ships now traveling safely through the outer rim, protected by a pale guardian that watched over them from the shadows. The dragon kept its promise, Minji said, reading the report on her tablet. Merchant vessel attacks in the Kepler sector have dropped to 0. Several ship captains report seeing a white dragon in the distance, but it never approaches. It just makes sure they reach their destination safely. Jinwoo smiled. Keeper of Stars had chosen to become what its luminary heritage had always meant it to be. Not a weapon of destruction, but a guardian of the innocent. The Council had tried to create a monster and instead had given birth to a protector. The final message from the dragon was simple but profound. It was the same image that Jinwoo had seen in its eyes during that first meeting in the containment chamber. Hope. The hope that had sustained it through years of slavery and torture. The hope that had been rewarded when a human veterinarian chose to see a victim instead of a monster. 6 months later, when young medical students asked Jinwoo about the dragon incident, he always told them the same thing. Sometimes the most important choice a doctor can make is not about which treatment to provide, but about whether to treat the disease or heal the patient. The Council had wanted him to fix their weapon. Instead, he had chosen to free a soul. And somewhere in the vast darkness between the stars, an albino dragon continued its eternal watch, ensuring that no innocent ship would ever again fall victim to the weapons of war. The galaxy had learned that humans possessed something more valuable than psychic powers or advanced technology. They had the ability to see possibilities that others could not imagine, and the courage to choose hope over fear, even when the cost seemed too high to bear.